missing someone.
Hey everyone, this is Bond Diesel and I'm bringing you a as quick as possible video today. The subject is going to be the Division 2 and an idea I have for the DZ in general, and something that's going to be completely different than what we are currently messing with for the most part. I ask you to have an open mind, understand that I have zero to do with the game and I can almost guarantee none of these things will make it in. But humor me and be willing to look at this in a different way. So from there, here we go. So survival requires a separate set of dedicated gear because if you bring any from the outside, it becomes contaminated and no longer useful, right? Yeah, that's the idea. That's why you start off with nothing. What I propose is that in the Division 2, when we go into the DZ, it's basically a survival instance that's ongoing. When you go into the checkpoints, it's like going into a hazmat cleanup type of zone where you have gear there waiting for you that you have stored, but you have to give up the gear you're wearing from the light zone, from the non-DZ area. I feel like this could be kind of a thing that could explain the lore behind it, kind of why you can't, and not just some arbitrary, now you need to wear different gear. So what I would say is that the gear that you get and farm for in the regular game, because keep in mind this is still making the DZ a part of the game but not a majority of it, you can use it in the specific PvP modes, assuming that the Division 2 is going to have modes similar to Last Stand, Skirmish, and hopefully more. But the DZ becomes an extremely different experience than what we're used to and what we have right now. The DZ becomes what I would best describe as a survival-like experience where you go in with minimal gear at the start and you have to farm for your gear on a seasonal rotation. That could be 2 weeks, a month, or maybe even longer. The PvP would also work like a game called Escape from Tarkov, where if you die in the DZ as a rogue, you lose everything on your person, including the extraction bag that you may use, but also what you're wearing. Gear found in the DZ cannot be extracted. You can only wear it in that season until it resets, but the DZ becomes the only place to find things like blueprints, materials, and other cosmetic items. Maybe even other items that I'm maybe just not creative enough to think about. But now Tarkov has an insurance system for the gear that you find and that you wear into each instance. But I'm not really sure if that's something that we would incorporate into this idea or not. The DZ would feature many similar objectives as it does now, but with added ones like cooperative events or missions that you can join on other agents with. Things like this would separate from the normal DZ and would basically be little missions inside the DZ where you're stuck to teammates and there is no team killing. So the big problems I have with this is that many people hate the non-permanence of this kind of a system, including Tarkov. Rogue 2.0 would need to be completely rethought and done over again, and just the Rogue system in general would need to be. Gear balance and time to kill need to be revamped. The inspiration I have for this is how, in my opinion, fun PvP is when you play in survival, if you manage to find people to fight against. The loot drop system and table would have to be completely redone, but it's not impossible, as it is very possible to die, and it shouldn't ruin the entire system for you. So I'm not sure if you would need to have a system where, almost like a gear score gate, where say you are fully loaded out with all high-end gear in the DZ with DZ gear, and you're running the server, but then you do get killed and you lose everything because the person who kills you gets to take it all. Do you start back off with all green gear fighting against people with yellow? That probably wouldn't be fair, right? So, there's a lot of flaws in this idea, and I understand that. But I'm just trying to throw out the main ideas here that I'm working with is the idea of like a seasonal system and a separation of your gear from your PvE to the PvP of the DZ. I would want things to be balanced and geared a lot towards having to use your gun to kill each other. Being out of cover being extremely detrimental, just like I want to be in the entire game, PvE included. Face tanking and whatever you would call what PvP is today being essentially gone, because it's not competitive, it's not fun, it's not strategic, there's nothing to it other than just having a good build that's maxed out and outlasting your opponent, while not necessarily outshooting them. There would need to be other options in the game to satisfy the people who want pure PvP, hopefully like a more refined skirmish mode, because this mode will not be the pure PvP that people even look at the DZ for now, even though I don't think that they're getting the experience they truly want. There would maybe need to be even separate servers for groups or DZ solo, and that's something that I don't like the idea of splitting up the player base in any way, shape, or form, but in this one instance may make sense and may be something that we may see. I know it's not a perfect idea and it needs a lot of refinement and it may simply be unrealistic. What I'm asking is, like I've been saying a lot, just to think outside of the box. Think about what we could have in this game and not what we already have and what we want to change. I really want the Division 2 to be a game that revolutionizes the way that we play the Division. I want it to still smell of the Division, look of the Division, and have the essence of the game that we all know and love, but to be an evolution and not just be a rehash or a Destiny 1.5 or anything else like that. I really like the extremely punishing system from Tarkov. I like the idea of seasons. I really like the idea of incorporating some survival into the regular game. That's the idea as it stands right now. I really would like to hear some feedback, criticism, other ideas. If you have your own, feelings and thoughts about it, I want to hear them and I want to have a discussion about it, because while the game may probably likely be done, the Division 2, or for the most part be completed with lots of polishing and finishing happening right now, I still think that these ideas are good because I really want people to have an open mind with what we're going to get. I'm still pretty certain that we need to be looking big, that we need to think about what this Division 2 is going to be, and that it's not just going to be Division 1 with some more stuff, maybe in a new place. So that's my thought. Like the things, subscribe to the stuff. You know what to do. You've been onto a YouTube page before. I'll put my links for my other content down in the description. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it made you think a little bit. Until the next one, this was Bond Diesel.